Gameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our CIS Canadian College Football Game of the Week preview between the Guelph Griffins and the Queens Gales. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Griffins.
Offensively, a lot of what the Griffins do comes off the running game, and when you look at running back Rob Carson, he has been a stud for this team the last 2 seasons. He's coming into this game averaging 123 yards a game and 7.4 yards a carry. The issue is the inconsistency in the passing game, and versus Queens, they need quarterback Jazz Lindsey to get into a rhythm early to create that room for the running game to flourish. And this is a very good defensive football team. It's tough to move the ball versus the Griffins on the ground, and they do a great job of getting you off the field on second down. Freshman defensive line Ian Maroof at 6'2", 265 can be virtually unblockable at times. He leads the team with 6.5 sacks and 10.5 TFLs. They're going to need that defensive line, especially this week versus the Gales offense that's one of the best in the CIS. Now let's move over to Queens in this ball game, and quarterback Billy McPhee is playing some good football right now for the Gales. He's only completing 55% of his passes, but he also only has 3 interceptions to 14 touchdowns, and that's the real reason why they're 6-1 on the season. He's also getting everyone involved in his offense, and I want you to keep an eye on wide receiver Giovanni April, who is averaging over 24.5 yards a catch. He's a big play waiting to happen for this offense. Defensively, the Gales have one of the best defensive line prospects in the country in Derek Wiggin, a guy that has tremendous athleticism. I saw him up close and personal at the East-West Bowl in London, Ontario. He had a great week of work. This week versus Guelph is important for the Gales to get good run fits and put the Griffins in second and long type situations, so that way they can really get these guys off the field. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For the Griffins, you want the element of surprise in the passing game, which means you're going to have to break your own tendencies to throw first when people expect you to run, and then you could have some success later on in the game, because we know you can always rely on your running attack. You want to keep Ian Maroof on the move, the best defensive player on your side of the football field defensively. Keep him moved across that formation. Maybe sometimes you line him up over the center, sometimes you put him up over the tackle, maybe even stand him up as an outside linebacker, but keep him on the move. And you want to let the short game open up the deep passing game. I talked about that earlier with the short passes. Work your passing game. You'll be able to take shots deep down the field later on. It also opens up that box, so that way, again, you'll be able to run the football much more effectively this week versus Queens. Now for the Gales in this ball game, the offensive line can't have an off day versus this defensive front. They've done a great job so far this season protecting the quarterback, but this can't be the game where you have lapses in protection. You want to make Jazz Lindsey beat you throwing the football. We just talked about it before. You have to make him make plays consistently throwing the football. You have to lock down in the red zone. Keep the Griffins out of the end zone. You have a great chance to win this ball game at home. The X factor in this game for the Griffins will be their quarterback play. We know Lindsey can do a lot of damage on the ground with his legs, but he's going to have to win this ball game with his arm. Hitting passes early opens up the running game later, so I think the Griffins' X factor is definitely the quarterback play of Jazz Lindsey. The X factor for Queens will be their red zone defense. Quietly, Guelph does a great job inside the 20, inside the 15-yard line, coming away with touchdowns, and it's up to this Queens defense to finally put the clamp down in the red zone and hold this team to 3. If they can do that, it gives them a great opportunity to win this game. Now here are some draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game for Guelph. You look at their offensive and defensive line, you'll find 2 fine prospects in Cameron Thorne on the offensive side, 6'5", 290, and Ian Maroof on the defensive side, 6'2", 265, excellent pass rusher coming off the edge. And for Queens, we've talked about Derek Wiggin before. This guy definitely has a bright future at the next level. And quarterback Billy McPhee does a great job facilitating the football. Very impressed with what he has done so far this season. And Giovanni April, 6'3", 220, tremendous deep threat with the size to go up and win those 50-50 passes. So you want to keep an eye on all 5 of these prospects in this ball game. I like Queens in this ball game. When you're facing a team like the Griffins and I like Queens in this ball game. Where you're facing a team like Guelph, it's all about possessions. You have to out-possession a football team that can really chew it up on the ground. I think they'll do a great job of slowing down the running game, getting the ball back for their offense, and look for Billy McPhee to find April more often than not in this matchup. So I like Queens to win this ball game versus 2 outstanding programs in the CIS.